Is House Bill 326 by Representative Butler. Ms. Vigrass, can you read it in, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As you stated, this is House Bill 326 by Representative Butler to provide for relative to the Louisiana Cosmetology Act, to provide for membership of the State Board of Cosmetology, to provide for qualifications of board members, to provide for fees, to provide for an effective date, and to provide for related matters. And Mr. Chairman, we have a technical amendment. This is Amendment Set 1330. There's one amendment in the set, and it is technical in nature.
All right, I'll offer up the amendment 1330. Any objections to the adoption of that amendment? Seeing none, it's adopted. Representative Butler, on your bill.
Is it afternoon already, or is it still the morning?
Still the morning, but it's getting there.
I camped out in the back for a while. Thank you for having me back. It feels like deja vu. Different chairman, a few different people of the committee. Members, we have a bill today from the Cosmetology Board basically the board is restructuring the way the board is, and then we're wanting to up some of the fees and restructure some of the fees that we have in place. And just to let you know that we have not had a fee increase, I even hate to say this, in 41 years, so that just shows how old I am. I am a cosmetologist, and when I was 21 years old, I went to cosmetology school, and it's been 41 years since we've had a fee increase. They've been maintaining this department, as we call it, the Cosmetology Board, for that long on this fee that we have. And they've restructured some of these fees to where and I still do to this day, I pay like $25 a year to have my cosmetology license, and we've grouped some of these resident, non-resident together where we have one fee. I just want all of you to know what these fees do. They pay for the maintenance of the building. They pay for our inspectors. They pay the utilities, the cost to run this cosmetology board, the testing, basically license renewals, everything that we need to sustain this industry yearly. We're to the point to where we're less than 5 years. We're just basically floating this industry, and we're just maintaining what we have. I think I emailed some of you our building, what our testing site looks like, and our building that we send these young students over there to be tested in. We have ceilings falling in. We have floors that are coming up. We have pieces of the walls coming in almost every room. You can see the wiring going across the floor of where that ought to interest our chairman, where the electrical grid and their IT is to keep up. They cannot maintain what they have. We can't even switch over some of our software because we can't afford it. There's so many things that we need to do to operate better. And in this profession, if you're going to license these young students to come in, we should be more professional. It's actually embarrassing what we're representing for these kids. They're taught to be professionals, and this is where they're tested at. We had someone come in and look at our finances, and they're less than 5 years just to float and maintain what we have if we do not regulate these fees and get some of that upped. And I also have someone here, I have an attorney with the board, the State Board of Cosmetology. Sherry, she's with us today, and maybe she can answer some of the questions I can't based on the board and the structure of the board.
All right, Representative Davis with a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Representative Butler, for bringing this bill again. I just move favorable.
Thank you.
All right, at the appropriate time, we'll...
As amended.
As amended.
All right. Representative
Forget those
Newell.
amendments.
These ladies keep me on my toes. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to do the same as Rep. Butler because I've heard about this several times, about the need to raise the fees, and considering there's so much interest in the world of cosmetology.
There is.
And we're asking the board to do so much.
Right.
I didn't realize that it was still just the $25. So thank you for bringing this.
Yeah, we're actually going from $2.13 a month to $4.16 a month. So just to let you know, and also just the curriculum to go in and do your cosmetology license is $35,000 to $40,000. That's what it costs to go to school. And this is what we're testing, our kids are testing in, and this is what we're paying a year in license fees. Of course, if you own a school, it's more, and, there's levels. But I just think it's way past time that we try to modernize some of this industry that we have. These young kids that are coming out of here, they want modern, they want to be able to work with modern tools. They want us to modernize their curriculum. We can't update our software. It's integrated. I mean, it's just on its way down, and I hate to see this in an industry that helped me support. I supported a special needs child, and I was a single mother by myself for 10 years. Without that, we wouldn't have made it, and I did very well.
So would this increase be enough to integrate the system, change the curriculum, modernize the building, or get a building where the breakers don't trip when you blow drying?
Yes, ma'am. And the new tools, can't even use all of the new tools all at one time because it will blow the breakers in there. So there's going to be a lot of money having to be put into this building, but right now, if they did all of that, it would break the bank. It would basically empty their account. So they can't do that because we have insurances to pay as well that they're mandated to pay.
And the 50 is enough
Yes.
to cover all of that?
Yeah, well, I let them do that job. The board did their job, and they said it was enough, so I'm agreeing with it.
All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I have a few cards. I have no more questions, but I have a few cards. Mr. Steve Young, the Cosmetology Board is present and will provide information if requested. Ms. Gilry with Stage on the Hair School is present. Aaron Grace, Paul Michael Schools, Mitchell. Jean Petrie, Cosmetology Training Center. Ms. Thelma Neal, Ryan Haney. And then we have one card in opposition that would like to speak, Reverend Freddie Phillips, Jr. Mr. Phillips, you'd like to speak? Come on up. Ladies, would you mind yielding to Mr. Phillips?
Very good. It's just one of me. Good morning. My name is Reverend Freddie Phillips. I'm here just to represent the concerns, and I didn't hear any numbers as to the cost of repairs or anything like that, but I was kind of challenged with the assessing. I came here 7 years ago in support of the braiding bill, but I kind of looked at Mississippi and their 6,700 plus recipients at $25 annual fee. That generates about $170,000 a year. So I think that maybe the method of where we're going is to impose another barrier on the people who are already trying to make a living. And if we would probably take a different approach and deal with it more economically to the ones who can afford it, we don't have to send another Inspector Crawford out to sabotage the industry. So I'm more relaxed to look at other states such as Mississippi, Freedom Hair, and the things that they did to improve their system that put 6,700 people, as Melody Armstrong did, into the industry that would increase the amount of revenue annually that it would take to be able to do what needs to be done within Louisiana. I just don't think we've looked at this perspective broad enough to see the other entities that are out there that are setting examples that we can glean from. I listened to testimonies earlier concerning Alabama and other things in the real estate agency, but I looked at this and said, well, if we can look at them and see the negative, why can't we look at other states and see the positive? And Mississippi has set an example that is vivid and valid that we can look at to move forward in generating more revenue if we would have more people participating where there's not a limited barrier that's going to prevent them from getting into the industry that's already. And I think we only have about, 38 permitted personnel?
I have no idea.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. I didn't get enough data, and then I couldn't hear because the door was coming in and out. So I kind of moved closer to try to get more statistical data so that we can make a definitive decision as to whether or not this is necessary or is it excessive. I think there are more ways to skin a cat, and this may be just an option that we need to look at before we make a decision on heightening the fees into the industry.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you, and you bring up some valid points.
I didn't hear any data, so that was
Yes, sir, and I do agree with you. So I'm going to ask Representative Butler some of those pointing questions.
Appreciate it.
So, Ms. Butler, currently the $25, how many people are paying the $25?
It would be all licensees, would be cosmetologists, estheticians, manicurists, and individuals who have permits. That would include alternative hair, shampoo assistants.
So do you have a number?
Mr. Young, the director, would have the
Okay,
number.
Mr.
Steve Young,
Young.
Director of the Cosmetology Board. We're looking at about 40,000.
40,000 people?
Yep, we have, yes,
40,000 paying $25? And we're wanting to go to,
yes, and that's the only revenue that we have. The state gives us no revenue. We generate our own revenue. That's been the same for that many years, and we're at the point where the barber board's been up to $40 a license for 8-9 years when you raise theirs, and so we have not had a fee increase. And we cannot increase fees by allowing people who have no license to work in shops, and so that's why to add people who don't have license is not under health and safety standards. And so, yes, do you have any other questions?
I think, I guess the big question is it's a double, you're doubling the amount of revenue you take in 1 year, which is a significant increase.
Yes, it's a significant increase, and it would last us 4 or 5, 6, 7 years, and without having to ask for another increase. But it is, we are running, as of now, we are running somewhere around $120,000 to $200,000 deficit. And so we will not be in business long with that kind of a deficit. With an increase, and since we're asking for an increase, it might as well be enough to last for several years rather than have to come back every 2 or 3 years and ask for a $10 increase.
So, and I guess that brings up another point, which I was going to try to point out. I personally don't like the boards when they come here and ask for increases, and it's just, I don't know why we're doing it the way we do it. But
Personally, don't like to come here and ask for it, to be honest.
but it is what it is. So, I think at the end of the day, when we talk about fee increases, we should talk about inflation, and we should have some kind of measure in place that would give you some autonomy. But it's kind of hard because we're not controlling your books, and we don't understand. I don't understand how you can run a deficit.
I would think in 41 years you've had some inflation. I would think
Yes.
cost of living has went up in 41 years.
But I would also counter that with, I would think in 40 years you probably have a lot more people paying you the $25 than you did 40 years ago.
I came here 5 years ago and I wanted a $5 increase. That's what I asked for 5 years ago, and the fee thing at that time, that was the big thing everybody came in on, and they didn't want to vote for fees. But the fact that you're self-generated and you don't take money from anywhere else, that's the only money they generate to run staff. They can't even afford digital postage. Like, we're spending over $32,000 a year in postage when we could be moving to a digital system, and we can't integrate that into the computers because they're antiquated. So it's just like nothing has been done. And that time frame to be able to fix what we have, and it's going to be, if they fixed everything that they did, it would empty the account at this point.
Wow.
And I want you to know the fees in Mississippi for cosmetologists is $50 a year. The instructor is $80.
Representative Knox with a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was actually going to make a point that you alluded to as it relates to inflation. And understanding that it's been 40 plus years, I would think $25 in today's terms probably is around $3 or $4, if that.
Yes.
So it seems kind of bizarre that we would expect an organization to run with that level and worth of inflation when it has been revealed that they are facing deficits. Notwithstanding the fact that no one likes to double the increase, but I think in this situation, when we're talking 40 plus years of an increase and the actual value of what they're charging or will charge is really only worth $3 or $4, that's a heavy lift. I don't care what organization you're in or representing, with the expectation that they should be sustainable. So at the appropriate time, if it hasn't been made already, has it? To move favorable?
A couple times.
I'm sorry. I'm definitely in support of the fee increase, and to me, it makes sense to go ahead and ask for it now than to come back every year for the next 5 or 10 years.
All right, Representative Green with a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And to piggyback off of Representative Knox, I'm supportive of the bill because I just did, CPI inflation calculator, Representative Butler. And so the value of the $25 back in 1984, because you said 41 years, will come out to $78.46. So you guys still aren't don't have the same purchasing power at $25 now when you go into 50.
Right.
So just want to put that out there for my colleagues. And this is something that's paid on an annual basis?
Yes.
Okay. Because for me to get my haircut with my barber, he charges $30, and I can remember probably around 2000, the cost was $8.
Mm-hmm. All right. And they've been paying $50 for a while.
And that's probably on the cheaper end.
Right.
Most of my colleagues, Alonzo, and and that's just for a male haircut. So I'm fully supportive of the bill and what you're trying to do, and actually I would think it probably should be a little higher.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
And there's been some things that's been mandated through the years. There's some insurance issues that just got through our governor that was mandated for liability reasons that they couldn't even really afford. It's astronomical what they're going to have to pay for that.
Kim's haircut's free. He can do it himself. Yeah, I tried it. It's pretty good. Pretty convenient. All right, thank you.
So just for the record, my haircut is $10.
Are you sure that's a hairdresser? I'm just asking.
She does a really good job, but I give her a $10 tip, so it's cost me $20. So it's giving me $20. So, all right, we have a motion, and I like my my lady. She cuts my hair well. But all right, I have a motion by Representative. Oh wait, hold up. We have a few more questions, but prior to those questions, Representative Butler, I see another amendment, or do you want to take that amendment up?
I didn't know I had another amendment.
It's by Representative Butler.
Oh, it was okay, so the amendment wasn't consistent. It was left out. It was a typo that was left out on page 3 so what they did was they took out non-resident.
So before you explain it, do you want to take it up?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to have to read it in. I'll offer up amendment set 1366.
Thank you.
Ms. Vigrass?
It was just a typo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you stated, this is amendment set number 1366. It is available online, has been passed out to members. There is one amendment in this set that inserts proposed law that would increase a booth rental permit, a special permit, and a temporary permit from $25 to $50.
Actually, and what the amendment does was they left it, all the other ones are in combined, like we combined the booth rental permit, the special permit, and the temporary permit. Instead of $25 each, it was $50. And that was just left out in a typo. We found out yesterday. Sorry.
All right, what's the will of the committee? for the amendment, the adoption of the amendment? Yeah, sure. Okay, so we have a motion by Representative Davis to move to, yeah. Take up the amendment. 1366. Any objections to that motion? Seeing none, the amendment is adopted.
Thank you.
Okay. And now
Are we done?
we have one question from Representative Newell.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, wait. This wasn't my original question, but I'm asking just for clarity on the amendment that we just, it's going to be one permit for everything?
Sherry Morris, attorney for the Louisiana State Board of Cosmetology. The way the statute, it's an old statute, and it was a list of each permit, and a lot of them are the same charge. So we just combined them into groups. So in one group is all the licensees, cosmetology, aesthetics, manicuring. One group was intended to be the permits, booth rentals, temporary permits, special permits, and that was left out. So the intent of the board and the instruction of the board was to raise the permit and licensing fees from 25 to 50.
And we just putting it on one line for aesthetic
Yes,
purposes?
rather than having that whole
Okay,
list.
thank you. Now, my question was, Rep. Butler, you said about instructors, and I'm just remembering that again. We're raising the instructor fee to $80? Is that what you said?
No, in Mississippi, it's $80, and it's $50 for the practitioners.
Okay.
Ours would also be $50. It's now $25 for instructor, and it would be $50 to be an instructor.
So we're in line with other states. We are in line with some
So
other
the
states.
instructor would pay the same as the student or the apprentice?
Actually, students pay less. And
But they're
we're not,
paying, everybody paying $50 now?
all
If
the
this bill passes?
practitioners, the student fees are not changed in this bill.
Okay, okay. And I need to know where the chairman goes to get a haircut, because it costs me about $50 just to get my haircut. We're not even talking about color.
Yeah.
So I need to know where you go, because you know, I'm gonna have to visit. I'm gonna have to visit out
I
there.
do get the
but
frequent visitor discount. I mean, I go pretty regular,
a
though.
visitor discount.
Yes.
Where is Representative Reiser? He had an interesting haircut in Cuba for $2.
No, we don't
So we
wanna
could
do
discuss
that.
that with him.
We don't want to do that.
I was there and witnessed it.
Yes.
But I
Okay.
think a nice hefty tip would help. The tips that most of us pay now would cover this yearly permit.
It's $4.16 a month.
But I will make this, I will say this, if my haircut goes up because you guys raised this fee,
We'll pass the hat, Mr. Chairman. We'll pass the hat.
That's the head for your $4.
We'll pass the hat.
Rhonda could cut it, yes.
all right, we have a motion by Representative Davis to move House Bill 326 as amended. Any objections? Seeing none, let's move favorable.
Members, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.